witnessed, on that fateful night of April 15th, 1912, one of the most known maritime tragedies of all times. It was RMS Titanic, a ship widely claimed to be the world's greatest. Supposedly, it was unsinkable, and the world of human engineering and ambition thought of Titanic as the marvel. In reality, on its first journey, it bumped an iceberg and there occurred the gigantic disaster that more than 1,500 people died in. It was no longer a ship. It had become something symbolical for luxury, for the technology developed, and it was that mysterious ship that, for many subsequent decades, interested the world in the huge mystery of it. Standing in 1909 at around 269 meters and nearly 53 meters in height from the shipyard, Belfast, Holland, and Wolfe in Ireland, Titanic was the world's largest ship, floating palace with 3 levels, namely first class, second class, and third class, all meticulously designed for the maximum comfort and elegance. The watertight compartments were probably the most important part of the Titanic, as it was then believed to be unsinkable. It was these very compartments that played a big role in this disaster. These sections were designed to keep the water inside in case of minor breaches, and yet they could not withstand the flooding that took place that night. April 10th, 1912, Titanic left Southampton headed to New York. All was fine until that April night 14. On that fateful night when the lookouts of Titanic saw that massive iceberg looming on its way, 11:40 p.m. was noted. He sent up the news to the Captain Smith. However, the behemoth ship couldn't be maneuvered on time to take it off from the iceberg, and within a few seconds, the powerful Titanic collided with the berg. This led to an incurable breach in the ship's hull, and within minutes, the water entered into compartments. If just 4 had been submerged by water, then Titanic could have been kept afloat. But it was the case of 5 compartments which were being flooded that sealed the fate. Just after hours, the so-called unsinkable Titanic sank into the Atlantic Ocean. So how could one of the most magnificent ships ever built sink in such a short period of time in such a terrible way? One of the best-known theories regarding the sinking of the Titanic was that she sank because she was going too fast for her very good. Despite warnings of heavy iceberg conditions, the Titanic continued on at full steam speed, apparently because some goon blackmailed her owners, White Star Line, to get their ship home in record-breaking time. A pace like that can afford little scope for reaction, and certainly not even in cold, water-freighted waters of North Atlantic. Another theory is the material used in building Titanic. The steel and rivets used have been proved to be weak for the frigid waters of the Atlantic and may crack on hitting, which contributed to the flooding. Some metallurgical tests conducted on pieces recovered from Titanic suggest that the ship was using brittle steel at cold temperatures, making it easier to break into fragments. There is also a theory holding that there was actually a secret coal bunker fire in the Titanic that could have weakened the hull even before leaving for the voyage. Some historians base this on photographs which already show black marks on the hull to prove that there was a coal fire that started days before the accident and continued burning during the actual voyage. This is supposed to be the reason because the fire within had eventually damaged the hull and therefore made it susceptible to the attack of the iceberg. Modern technology and AI have brought new approaches to the study of the sinking Titanic in this 21st century. By simulations and digital reconstruction, scientists and historians can reconstruct what probably happened with the spreading of water in its compartments in an effort to get a very good understanding of the final process that sank the ship. Very good insights have been generated concerning the ship's structure and final moments through digital mapping of what actually happened that night. Of course, not too surprising, sinking of Titanic sparked loads of conspiracy theories like most other historical happenings. Some believe that Titanic was substituted by its sister Olympic because of some insurance fraud. Olympic had been damaged really badly much earlier, and one would do pretty well to assume that White Star Line did it in order to shift the vessels to their financial advantages. But then there are hardly any traces for proving it. Another theory is that Titanic was a victim of an accident of a military exercise gone wrong. This theory postulates that the ships in the vicinity that would have been useful to Titanic were conducting a military drill and could not find time to respond. Again, this theory cannot be proved, and many historians dismiss it as a possibility. All these were just theories, which until today do not alter the fact that Titanic marked the start of tremendous changes in maritime regulations and safety procedures. In 1914, the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, was born. Ships should now carry adequate lifeboats, round-the-clock radio communications, and other security measures. All these would have prevented the sinking and made the lives of both passengers and crew much safer. This teaches one a lesson regarding the limits of human ambition and the unpredictability of nature. It teaches one that with all the development we have achieved through science, there is much more lying beyond our control. This mystery continues to mesmerize millions today, and their legacy survives to this date. So, what do you think? Tragic accident or the mystery of Titanic, which is lying underwater? Give your opinions in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification for such mysterious and interesting content coming ahead.